So this question starts off by providing us with a system of inequalities. We're told that y is less than or equal to x plus 7, but we're also told that y is greater than or equal to negative 2x minus 1. The question goes on to say which point, xy, is a solution to the given system of inequalities in the xy plane. So I think all we really need to do here is plug in answers, right? Like that's the strategy to use. How do we do that? Well, let's start off with answer choice A. So answer choice A is saying that when x is equal to negative 14, y is equal to 0. Well, let's try that with both of our inequalities. If y was 0 and x was negative 14, well, negative 14 plus 7 is negative 7, and this becomes not true, right? 0 is not less than or equal to negative 7. 0 is actually greater than negative 7. So choice A is automatically gone. I don't even have to try it with the second inequality. So let's go on to choice B. So choice B is saying when x is 0, y is negative 14. So again, let's just try that in the first inequality. So I'm going to cross out y and put a negative 14, cross out x and put a 0, and just say, is this true? Well, 0 plus 7 is 7. Is it true that 7 is greater than or equal to negative 14? Or if we read it from left to right, that negative 14 is less than or equal to 7? Yeah, that's true. So now let's make sure it's also true in the second inequality. So if I put a negative 14 there, replace this with 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Is it true that negative 14 is greater than or equal to negative 1? No, that's not true. Negative 14 is less than negative 1. So while the first inequality worked, the second one doesn't work, which means choice B is now also gone, right? So hopefully you get the gist of what I mean by plug-in answers in this case. Now we're on to choice C, which is saying that when x is 0, y is positive 14. So let's try that. Replace y with 14, replace x with 0. 0 plus 7 is 7. Is 14 less than or equal to 7? No, 14 is greater than 7. So C is also gone. No need to try the second inequality. And to our last one, which better be the right answer unless we made a math error somewhere, which is possible. But let's just check it out instead of just choosing it. So here we're saying x is 14 and y is 0. So let's see if that works. Okay, so let's see. So if x is 14, just thought of a much faster way to solve this. If x is 14 and y is 0, then is it true 14 plus 7 is 0 less than 21? Yep, that's true. And how about here? When y is 0 and x is 14, we get negative 28 minus 1, so altogether this becomes negative 29. Is 0 greater than or equal to negative 29? Yes, that's also true, and that's why choice D works. Okay, so halfway through this, or really more like 80% of the way through this, I realized I don't really need to do all of this, right? So we could just use Desmos to solve this. I think I'm still stuck in the pre-digital SAT era of having to do this by hand. And not having that nicely integrated calculator that everybody has access to. So we could just throw this into Desmos, actually graph these inequalities, just get a sense for how they would look. So for the first one, we'd have a y-intercept at 7. Let's just say it's there. And we'd have a slope of 1. So let's say our graph just looks like this. And it's less than, so we'd shade down. So everything below will be shaded. And then we have our second inequality, which I'll do in red. The y-intercept there is negative 1, so let's just say that it's there. And the slope is negative 2, so down to right 1, so let's just say it's there. So that line would look something like this. Y is greater, so it would be shaded above. And of course, the only part of the shading that we really care about is where it's overlapped, so I wouldn't really pay attention to that part. So we have overlap here, right? So all of this is where those two graphs, inequalities, overlap. So then the next thing to do, the most important thing to do here would be to determine, well, where is, let me just erase all this now. where is the point for choice A? Where is negative 14, 0? Well, negative 14, 0 is way over here, right? That's not in the overlap region, so that's why A is gone. How about 0, negative 14? Well, 0, negative 14 is way down here, right? So also not in the overlap region. That's why B is gone. How about 0, 14? Well, 0, 14 is way up here on the y-axis. So also not in the overlap region. That's why that's gone. And then choice D, 14, 0, you can see is very obviously going to be in the overlap region, and that's why choice D is correct, right? So we could have just gone straight to Desmos, got a visual on this, and then found where each of those answer choices are, and found that probably a bit faster than using plug-in answers.